Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, or hello if you've just found my channel, thank you. I have been away from filming any kind of videos for quite some time now. This is just a small video to let you know what I've been up to, really, before I get into what I'm actually here to talk about. So I stopped filming videos purely because I realised after looking back at my videos that I'd already filmed, they were all just book hauls, basically. That is absolutely fine. I adore watching book haul videos, so of course that's what I predominantly made, but that's a theme with me. On my tarot channel, again, that was a theme for me. It was, I bought a new deck, look at this new deck, isn't it great? And then there was very little substance. I'm sure I had interesting things to say, maybe, in the video, but ultimately I just found myself just buying books and being like, oh, look how cool this is. And I probably I probably will watch them back to see if I actually read any of those books. I have a tendency to just pick and choose when I fancy it. I was doing a TBR jar and then I donated, well, I haven't donated them, they're over there on another bookshelf while we're waiting for the charity shops to reopen so that I can donate them. There is a lot of them. But then I have more behind me. I have this shelf and there's a shelf there that you can't see, and then another shelf there, which is mostly books, a couple of DVDs at the bottom. I still purchase DVDs. So yeah, that's really kind of why I've been away. And also I kind of stopped filming just because I got that fear. I suffer, like most people I imagine, or not, from anxiety. I'm no good with people. I know I'm lovely with people. Like if I meet someone, you know, I'm not like cold, but crowds I struggle with. Being near teenagers scares the hell out of me. Groups of teenagers, girls mostly. I'm terrified of groups of girl teenagers. I used to be one, so and yeah, I just have lots of anxiety about conversing with people, words being misconstrued, me coming off like an absolute idiot. But at the end of the day, I thought, so what? You know, the world's full of people that struggle, but they don't hide what they want to talk about, and I want to talk about books. And hopefully, not that you're here for that, but hopefully one day I'll be able to do that with my tarot stuff again as well. So yeah, that's 2 minutes of me waffling about why I haven't been away. So if you found this video for the first time, you're like, I've never seen you before. But there you go. I started my channel when I lived in Bristol, and then I did that for a while, and then when I moved back home to Oxfordshire, I just kind of stopped. It was a whole thing moving back here. I wanted to be closer to my family and my friends, but it did mean coming back to the town I grew up in, which I'm not a fan of this town at all. I don't like it. It's not the worst town in the world, I'm sure, but it's not for me. So it kind of just threw me being back. But I was glad to be home to see everyone and, you know, try and save for a house. But I just had avocado on toast, so you know that's not going to happen anytime soon. So anyway, I don't know really what I'm doing. I could edit this video. If I gave it some thought, I might do that. If not, ooh. So I'm going to try my absolute best to start doing more interesting content. Predominantly, I think it'll probably be book reviews, or book, like when I get to the end of the month, what I read, what I didn't enjoy. But we'll see. I'm not putting any pressure on myself because I put too much pressure on myself. I like tags. I don't know if I'll do any tags, predominantly because some of the tags that I do watch myself, I don't know whether or not they're talking about new books. Like, you know, one of the most exciting books that you read this year. Well, does the book have to come out this year? Because apart from, as you can see, I've got The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin. I and a couple others, I don't tend to buy new books that have just come out, not for any particular reason. It's just that I'm always behind. If you follow me on Instagram, it's a mix of my life, books, tarot, that sort of thing, so I'd understand if you didn't. You know, I'm always behind. I mean, I've just I think last month I finished reading The Priory of the Orange Tree, and everyone's like, yeah, we've done that, but I just like finally got to it. So, but I'm not here to review The Priory of the Orange Tree, which I did enjoy actually. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, so I am going to just pause a moment. She says, not pausing. Thank you for waiting. But I paused it so you didn't wait. So I have taken to, when I finished a book and I enjoyed it or I didn't, I actually write it down. So so cool. It was a birthday present. Because I struggle to articulate myself on camera, and I'm probably still going to struggle to articulate myself. So I wrote notes down so I can express to you my thoughts. Good gosh, aren't I struggling here, but that's fine. So the book I wanted to talk to you about is not a new book. This particular edition was published in 1991, and it is The Famished Road by Ben Okri. And this is, you'll be pleased to know, the first non-fiction, because my non-fiction books, I'll tell you in a minute, that I tabbed. I tabbed a book. My non-fiction books, I underline, highlight, tab, dog ear, everything, because mostly they're self-help books. 9 times out of 10, they're self-help books for me trying to just live this human existence. And I don't know about you guys, but it's pretty fucking hard. And I imagine that's not just me. I imagine there's people out there that actually have a hell of a lot more struggle than I do, but that's the issue with a brain like this. It's very cuts you off. I realised how selfish that sounded, so sorry. I didn't mean it like that. Let's get back to the book before I make even more big of a tit of myself. And I will point out, I'm hoping with this new video I'm just going to be myself, so I will swear. If you don't like swear words, I'm sorry, it's not going to be for you. I won't drop the C word on you though. It is my favourite word, but I won't drop it on you because I know that word is not a great word for a lot of people, but I do like that word. So that's something about me. Anyway, back to why I'm doing the actual video. I really hope I can edit this video. I'm really making such a fool of myself. But anyway, so Ben wrote The Famished Road. I believe that it won the Booker Award, and I don't know what year that won. So this follows the narrator, which is a young boy called Arazo, and he is a spirit child who, in the Yoruba tradition of Nigeria, exists between life and death. That was all I needed, really, to start the book. I thought that sounded remarkable, and it is remarkable. It's 500 pages, and I'm just going to get that out of the way straight away. I found it just a tad too long, which is hilarious because of The Priory of the Orange Tree, which I also found a tad too long. But I'm not into short books necessarily. I love a long book, but I did. But I think it's rather interesting that it was that I felt that it was long. I think personally, obviously, I've not actually researched the book at all, which I probably should do if I'm reviewing them, but I haven't. But I'm wondering if that was the point. One of the things when I first started to read the book that I kind of got annoyed with was the constant, it just felt like the same stuff was happening, but not going anywhere. And when that happened again, I was like, do you know what? I think that's the point. The world that we're in, with the young man Arazo and his family and his neighbours and his community, we'll get to the spirit side in a minute. It is just constant. It is exactly the same thing day in, day out with little change. And again, I could just be making that up. Maybe that's not what Ben intended, but that's how I ended up seeing it. And I was just like, and it made it so much more enjoyable. Seems not the word. It was enjoyable, but it just made it a lot more eye-opening, I think is the word. So we literally do follow the young man in this as he is caught between life and death, and we just follow his life in Nigeria as he battles with the white man, politics, his world changing, the weather changing, his community, his father, do you know what? I don't like his father. This isn't a spoiler. I don't like his father, and yet I love his father. There is something about him. It feels like it's as much his story. Um, he's definitely one of the most interesting characters I have ever read, and just amazing. So I've lost my train of thought talking about his father, but and another thing that I really enjoyed. Let me just make sure I'm not missing so anything too bad. I'll only be a second. Yes. So one of the things that I wrote down here is that I can't pretend that I understand the relationships and the community workings that Ben has here, as I have never had to live in a community like that. So a lot of how the community acted towards each other was very foreign to me, and I was like, really, is that? So I don't know, but that was one of the things I wanted to mention because I haven't lived that world. How would I know? But from my comfy sofa, it kind of felt like, really, would someone do that? I don't know. What would a human do in that situation where everything is going to shit and they're just trying their best to survive? So yeah, one of slow down. One of the most amazing things that I liked about this book was the spiritual side, and not just the journey that the young boy takes, although there is some fantastic Nigerian legends. I think there was one called the King of the Road, and why people leave shrines and offerings to him, and that was terrifying but so beautiful. And I should have looked up to see if it was an actual legend or if Ben created it for the book, so I'm sorry I didn't. But the spiritualism is amazing, and the spirits that the young boy sees and talks to is also just beautiful. And it was just nice to see, or at least read, but I saw them, a different view of the spirit world. I definitely, given the books I have, my spiritual world books comes from horror, predominantly Western horror. So there's that kind of, obviously, that menacing and how they look, whereas this is much more different, although some of them are menacing. Some of the things that I found really interesting was, we're not going to look at the notes, I'm on a roll, I've got it. Some things I found interesting was when we're at a bar. I don't want to give too much away because I think you should read it for yourself. When we're at a bar and we have spirits coming in, or these, I can't remember if he said they were spirits, but these people that come in and they were broken and how they looked, and he was terrified. And I thought personally, again, I haven't researched it, so I'm sorry about that, but I thought perhaps these people that were coming in, there was nothing wrong with them. They looked the way they looked because of us and what was happening in their world and how hard they were working. So their bodies did contort and look deformed. His father works exceptionally hard, and his body starts to do exactly that, So that I found that really interesting. I'm not going to read everything I tabbed because I think there is just way too much good stuff in this book. But I'm just going to read you one small paragraph just so you can get a feel for Ben's writing. There was not one among us who looked forward to being born. We disliked the rigours of existence, the unfulfilled longings, the enshrined injustices of the world, the labyrinths of love, the ignorance of parents, the fact of dying, and the amazing indifference of the living in the midst of the simple beauties of the universe. We feared the heartlessness of human beings, all of whom are born blind, few of whom ever learn to see. And that's on page 1. So you can absolutely see why I ploughed on through it. And it took me about a week to read it because it's not a plot-driven book. It's an experience. So taking your time is a must. I got to about the 400-page mark and I did start to lag. I'm not going to lie. but I did carry on reading it, and I really, really enjoyed it. And I'd be so interested in reading more of Ben's work. I thought it was wonderful. I know it's an old book, but again, I think, you know, if you're into books that are character driven, are of mood, and have a lot to say, this book is definitely one that I think that you should pick up, to be completely honest with you. I've got a thing now where once I've finished a book, I then go on to Goodreads, and I don't read the good reviews, because we're in the same boat. You know, if someone's given it a 5 or a 4 or a 3-star, you know, I'm like, no, we're in the same boat. We loved it, and I try not to read them, because I don't want anyone to I don't want to nick someone's words, if that makes sense. But I do like to read ones, and so many that I came across were like unsure why it had won the Booker Award. And you are absolutely entitled to your opinion. I'm not going to tear you down for that. But it was just interesting to see why people were like, how did that win an award? How could it not? But yeah, so if I just pick it up if you're interested in that sort of thing. And it's my first book that I've read based in Nigeria, I believe. So shame on me, but there we are. So I'd be interested in reading more of Ben's work. I believe he does poetry, and I would be all for that. So I'm going to look at where I can purchase some of that is not Amazon. If you use Amazon, it's fine. But I'm trying not to use Amazon so much, if I can help it, especially for books. But that's just me. So I want to see where I can find some of his stuff. If you know there isn't Amazon, let me know. Ideally not Waterstones either. I don't mind supporting Waterstones, but I might look on Blackwell's. We've segued. Blackwell's of Oxford are a fantastic bookshop. I love ordering from them. But there are loads of other places out there. I've got a whole list actually that I can be looking for. I'm just lazy, and that's the truth. So that's got to stop, unfortunately. Oh, but they make it so good, don't they? So easy, just like Just Eat. But yeah, so that's my book review for that. So thank you for watching. Any questions, do ask, although I'm definitely not the authority on that book, but I'm sure there are people out there. You should definitely seek them out. So 17 minutes, my first video back, feeling okay. So we'll see how it goes. Be nice.